Good evening, and we begin at 5 o'clock with local children's hospitals entering crisis mode. That's because of a rise in RSV cases that now has places like OHSU Dornbecker out of pediatric ICU beds. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter. Today, the Oregon Health Authority described this as a serious situation, and hospitals are calling it unprecedented. Joe Ranieri joins us now from the newsroom. Joe, these cases are forcing some hospitals to stop some procedures.
Well, Laura, the hospital announced today they are postponing some non-urgent pediatric surgeries because of the sharp rise in RSV cases. That's at Randall Children's Hospital. I spoke with doctors just last week who said they were very concerned and told me that we haven't even seen the peak of cases. That's not expected to come until after the first of the year at the earliest. Now, both OHSU and Randall Children's are operating at crisis standards, which means their critical care services are severely limited, and some patients needing critical care are being transferred to other hospitals. The postponing of procedures for Legacy is only at Randall Children's Hospital. Dornbecker has no more pediatric ICU beds. RSV, which is a respiratory virus caused mild infections but can get really serious for babies, older people, pregnant women, and those who are immune compromised. Here's what we can do to prevent the spread of RSV. Avoid contact with those who are sick, wash hands frequently, clean and disinfect surfaces, and lastly, stay up to date on routine vaccinations like flu shots and COVID-19 boosters. In the newsroom tonight, Joe Ranieri, KGW News.
Thank you, Joe. And Oregon is dealing with a severe shortage of public defenders in our court system. This week, the Multnomah County District Attorney called that shortage a, quote, urgent threat to public safety. Daisy Caballero explains how many cases have been dismissed this year alone and why Oregon is in this situation.
Between February and October, 285 criminal court cases were dismissed in Multnomah County because of the lack of public defense attorneys. That large number prompted the county's DA to weigh in this week, hoping to draw more attention to the crisis. Mike Schmidt says so many cases being dismissed sends a message to individuals who have committed a crime that there's no accountability. Mayor Ted Wheeler weighed in on the issue on the Lars Larson radio show today.
There's no question in my mind that we need more prosecutorial capacity in the district attorney's office. There's no question in my mind that we need more public defenders so that we don't have cases summarily dismissed.
More than 2,400 felony hearings have been delayed this year between February and October, according to Schmidt. He says the courts are forced into the position to release defendants without a defense counsel. To show the scope of the crisis, his office will start publishing a list showing every case dismissed each week in Multnomah County because of the lack of defense counsel. Oregon's public defense system is the only one in the nation that relies entirely on contractors, like large nonprofit defense firms and smaller private defense attorneys that contracts for cases and independent attorneys who can take cases at will. But some firms and private attorneys are periodically refusing to take new cases because of the workload, poor pay rates, and late payments from the state.
I don't accept any part of the criminal justice system throwing their hands in the air and saying we don't have enough people. If you don't have enough people, then go out and recruit them, hire them. If you can't recruit them and hire them, then do something different.
And in June, Oregon lawmakers approved $100 million for the troubled public defense system. Daisy Caballero, KGW News.
Police have identified the man killed Saturday night at a hotel near the Portland airport. They say he is Parnell Bedon Jr. He was just 18 years old. He died in a shooting at the Embassy Suites Hotel. There have been no arrests yet. Anyone with information should contact police. According to police, 9 people wearing ski masks and goggles smashed at least 50 windows and doors at Adidas headquarters in North Portland Sunday morning. Blue paint was also splattered all around campus. An activist website is taking credit for the damage, explaining that Adidas is a major sponsor of the World Cup and says many migrant workers were killed in the building of a soccer stadium in Qatar. Others were violently displaced to make way for that building. They're calling for a month of attacks on other global companies that sponsor the World Cup. In a statement, Adidas said, in part, that it has worked with FIFA and the Qatari government to improve the situation for migrant workers. It also said it was not involved in the decision to award the World Cup to Qatar. Nobody's been arrested for the vandalism. A scare at a Washington high school this morning turned out to be a prank. The Clark County Sheriff's Office got a call claiming students at Heritage High School had been shot. Deputies arrived within minutes and realized there was no incident, and the report was a prank. To be clear again, there was no shooting, nobody was hurt. The Sheriff's Office is investigating who made that call. They say the caller had a similar accent and speech as the person who made a different fall school shooting report at a high school in Vancouver. That was back in September. Now to our homeless crisis. The city of Portland's trying to figure out where to place 6 large designated camping sites for people who are homeless. It's part of the mayor's new plan approved by council to get people off sidewalks. Mayor Ted Wheeler is in the process of meeting with all of Portland's neighborhood associations and business districts. The city says the 6 sites will be 2 to 4 acres and professionally managed. Each will have up to 150 people at first. The city plans to somehow place each near transit, but distanced from residential areas, schools, and business districts.
It's probably going to be difficult to find those locations.
I would feel pretty comfortable living near people like that and would hope to expand my community.
I live in this neighborhood, and I think it's a very nice neighborhood. I would not want to have a large group of homeless in here.
Next week, the mayor's meeting with service providers and those experiencing homelessness. The mayor's office has not publicly set a deadline to find the locations, only saying it will happen in the near future. Grim news from one of our area's biggest nonprofits, and it's all because of rising costs for food, rent, utilities, and gas. The Sunshine Division doubled its all-time record for the number of families needing a food box ahead of Thanksgiving. The busiest day in its 100-year history. Our Bryant Clerkley joins us now. Bryant, they're calling this deeply concerning.
Yes, Laurel, 1,100 families visited their 2 food pantries just yesterday. Plus, they delivered over 200 more food boxes straight to homes. That's twice as busy as last year when we were in a pandemic, and it was slammed. 1,300 families were served in total, and to give you an idea of just how much of a dire situation Americans are in, compare that to the previous record of 625 families. The Sunshine Division relies on donations, but because everyone's money doesn't go as far now, inflation means fewer donations. The cost of groceries have gone up 13% in the past year, housing prices have gone up 6%, and energy spending costs have increased by almost 20%. The Sunshine Division's executive director says the nonprofit needs help.
Give what you can. Give to your local food relief organizations like Sunshine Division that are on the front lines helping people face to face every day. We need your help more than ever. And even if it's a little tight or maybe it's a little less than you could do before, we need that help because it's just exponentially busier than anything we could have ever imagined.
Crews are preparing about 1,500 Thanksgiving meals to send to nonprofits that feed people in need. Demand there is also higher than it's ever been. The Sunshine Division is preparing to serve even more people for Christmas. Next month, 4,000 holiday meals will be delivered to families in need, as well as churches, schools, and social service agencies. Both organizations are in need of donations. Laurel.
Boy, something good and important we can all do to try to help these organizations. Thank you so much, Bryant. After decades of history in Southwest Portland, Alpen Rose Dairy is moving operations to Clackamas after purchasing Larson's Creamery. And as Christelle Kumwe tells us, the relocation frees up a massive piece of developable real estate in Southwest Portland.
Alpen Rose, a Portland fixture since 1916, is on the move.
We're at Larson's Creamery in Clackamas, Oregon.
Alpen Rose plans to move all operations here to Larson's 9-acre campus in Clackamas.
Alpen Rose and Larson's are getting together.
Josh Reynolds, general manager for Alpen Rose, says the move comes as the company acquired Larson's Creamery, another long-standing family-owned dairy business.
This is huge for us after almost 50 years in the butter manufacturing business.
And not only are we adding their great butter products to our portfolio of fresh milk products, this is going to be the future home of Alpen Rose because we need to relocate from our current and very old facility on the west side of town.
The 51-acre property on Southwest Shattuck Road is prime real estate in the West Hills. a property developers have estimated could be the site for some 190-some new homes. It sparked hundreds of comments on our Facebook story. I live nearby and I'm not happy. Development will increase traffic congestion and noise. Good. The county needs more housing options and it has to start somewhere. Others remember the baseball fields full of memories of past tournaments. I am disgusted to think of how much housing will be crammed in there.
We've had low inventory for 10 plus years.
But
So
broker Drew Burchett of Living Room Realty says the move won't necessarily put a dent in the housing market.
By adding a couple dozen or even 100, close to 200 new homes, it doesn't really start to chip away at the giant inventory problem that we have in Portland. And especially if those are higher end homes, it really doesn't eat into that. But this, if you look at a map of Portland, this is probably one of the last giant chunks of real estate that's developable.
Back at Larson's Creamery, the focus is the development of a new partnership to better serve the community.
But we want to be right here, still in the metro area, easy to serve our key customers and remain a fixture in Portland for the long term.
Alpen Rose plans to move to Larson's Clackamas campus in the second half of 2023. In the meantime, they will continue to operate at the Southwest Portland location. Christelle Kumwe, KGW News.